Incredible! I leave one non-committal comment on a NativeLink video about my interest in making a series about this obscure language, the Ainu language of northern Japan, that has at most 2 living native speakers, and my subscriber count jumps by 50%. Granted, that's just up from 30 originally, but it's still a sign that I should not ignore. The intro music is called Ekatuhu Pirka. It comes from a contemporary Ainu band active in the 2000s called Ainu Rebels. I would ask you to support the group, but they have absolutely disappeared from the internet. They have no website, no albums, no representation at all. In fact, I could only find this track in an unlisted playlist, and it seems to be bordering on lost media. Anyway, let's get back on track. There are other people out there like me who are interested in learning this critically endangered language, but who may not have the Japanese ability necessary to properly study it. So, welcome to Lesson 0 of my Ainu language series. I am studying the language in my own free time using Japanese sources, and I will relay what I learn to you as I learn it, basically in real time. I'm a beginner. In this lesson, we will go over the orthography and phonology of the Ainu language. And I would like to slip in one disclaimer real quick. I am not a linguist. I'm not linguistically trained. I am a hobbyist of sorts. So I may mispronounce a lot of words because I have only ever read them, never heard them in a classroom. So go easy on me. Okay, let's get started. Okay, so first a little bit about me and the source materials. My name is Nick. Hello, I'm an engineer and language enthusiast living in Japan, making these videos as I learn the Ainu language. My prior language experience is English as a native speaker, Latin and Japanese as acquired languages, and Mandarin as a work in progress. I've also dipped my toes in a few other languages, so I'm familiar with a few other concepts that I've not encountered in my fluent languages. And I look forward to learning new concepts in Ainu. Okay, so I'm learning from 2 different texts primarily. One is Ainugo Nyumon by Mashiho Chiri, written in 1956. It's written by an accomplished Ainu linguist who is himself Ainu, or was himself Ainu. His family were native speakers. He was a native Japanese speaker, but he is one of the first Japanese linguists to do a deep dive into the language. It's dense, technical, and obviously no accompanying audio or exercises given the era in which it was written, but very good for getting down deep into the weeds of the language. And my introductory source that I go to first before going to his work is Ainugo by New Horizons. It's approachable and has audio by current activists, kind of. Well, can't call them activists, but people who are currently active in promoting the Ainu language and culture. They are not native speakers, but they are accomplished. The New Horizons text will source most of the example audio that I provide in these lectures. So if you wouldn't mind, I would like you to support the book. I would like you to buy the book on Amazon. It's kind of expensive. I'll put a link in Amazon. I'll put an Amazon link in the description. 2 of them, actually. One will be an affiliate link if you want to support me. One will be no affiliate link in case you think that's a sketchy thing for me to do. So, your choice. And 2 more resources I will link in the description. One is the Foundation for Ainu Culture, which has an excellent YouTube channel with English subtitles as well as Ainu subtitles for Ainu songs and Ainu stories. So it's a great listening resource as we move forward. The titles are all in Japanese, so take a look at this slide to see what you're looking for English subtitles, Latinized subtitles, and katakana subtitles. The last 2 both being Ainu subtitles. And then there's the STV Radio Ainu course, which is entirely in Japanese and Ainu. There is no English support there, but it will be a resource that I pull from in later episodes probably. So I'll link to that. It's great. And with no further ado, let's move on to phonemes and Latinization of the Ainu language. As you can see on the screen, there are 5 vowels and 11 to 12 consonants in the Ainu language. I say 11 to 12 because that 12th one is the glottal stop, which is not counted by everyone as a consonant, but it is present, whether you count it or not. So these 17 symbols plus the equal sign, so 18 symbols, are all you need to write the Ainu language using the Latin alphabet. The equal sign is used to separate morphemes because this is a polysynthetic language in which morphemes can combine to make long words or entire sentences. Ainu does not distinguish between voiced and unvoiced, meaning that you can pronounce k, t, t, p as g, d, j, and b with no consequence. And by the way, we will go over these pronunciations in the next slide, but let's hold on a little bit. Okay, the now extinct Sakhalin dialect that I will occasionally reference because it's in the 1956 work had one additional consonant, the h consonant. It seems to have derived from a syllable final P, T, K, and R, at least according to Wikipedia. And I'll bring up this dialect as it comes up in my study. There are a few more wrinkles than that, probably, but don't worry about that yet. If I haven't learned it yet, it's not important at this stage. Okay, so let's move forward to the other writing system, because there is another writing system, and it's a bit of a doozy, but you're probably anticipating that. And that other writing system, as you probably guessed, is the Japanese katakana script. Now, this is about as well suited to Ainu as the Latin alphabet is to English, which is to say, not that well. But we have to deal with it because this is one of the most common ways to write the language. Okay, so this is where I'm going to sit back and I'm going to play some audio from the textbook that pronounces each of the syllables, not the finals, but the syllables. And I should point out before I do that the textbook audio includes a WO combination, the bottom right, which is not included in this graph, and also a CO combination, a CU combination, which is near the top right sector. The Omniglot page saw fit to omit them, so maybe they're only used for loan words. I don't know that yet at this point. But let's move on and play the audio. The audio starts from A, I, U, E, O in the top left, and it moves from left to right, then back to Ha, Hi, Hu, He, Ho, and left to right on the bottom.
A, I, U, E, O, Ka, Ki, Ku, Ke, Ko, Sa, Si, Su, Se, So, Ta, Tu, Te, To, Cha, Chi, Chu, Che, Cho, Na, Ni, Nu, Ne, No.
Ha, Hi, Hu, He, Ho, Pa, Pi, Pu, Pe, Po, Ma, Mi, Mu, Me, Mo, Ya, Yu, Ye, Yo, La, Li, Lu, Le, Lo, Wa, We, Wo.
Now, the reason why I say that katakana are not well suited for Ainu is because katakana is a syllabary, and Japanese syllables are much simpler than Ainu. So it requires an extension of the katakana character set to fully accommodate the Ainu syllable structure. And this is not easy when typing because it's not standard characters. Also, it does not distinguish between final I and final Y, or final U and final W. That said, I have made a web app that covers all of the characters in the Ainu katakana script. The slide is out of date. It says I only cover some of it, but I've covered all of it. And the link is in the description below. So check it out, please. There are 4 basic patterns for syllabic structure in the Ainu language. There's vowel and consonant vowel, which are both open syllable structures, and there's vowel consonant and consonant vowel consonant, which are both closed consonant syllable structures. And this distinction between open and closed is necessary for determining where the accent is placed in a word. There are 56 open syllables, They're all covered in the web app. Again, this is an outdated slide back when I only covered the open syllables. Now they're all in there. The 4 open syllables that do not occur in the language at all are ti, yi, wi, and wu. They do not occur in Ainu. Okay, so closed syllables may end in any consonant except H or C. Final S, and actually S in any position when it's before an I, may sound like sh in practice. It's written as a small si or si. And the reason why it can sound like that is because there is no distinction between the sounds in Ainu, and also because Ainu speakers are mostly native Japanese speakers now. So that's a combination that kind of corrupts the distinction. Okay, so final t, k, p are all implosive and may be difficult to hear. I will not be skilled at pronouncing them. And let's see, final R is often colored by the vowel that comes in front of it. So if you have UR, for example, you can get it to sound like uru, or you can make it sound like uru, which I can't distinguish between them very well. Also, id, so ER, id, can be iri. So that's the way it can come across. And that's not just an effective Japanese influence, that is native to Ainu, because it's covered even in the 1956 work written at a time when there were a lot of native Ainu speakers. When p, k, or s are doubled in the middle of a word, the first occurrence is written as t. This is a carryover from Japanese, where almost all doubled consonants are written that way. So for example, there is
ほっぱ、
leave behind and
やっか、
but and
あっさ、
paddle. By the way, did you notice that that last word has a final P? That is what the implosive final P sounds like. It is very hard to hear, but it is there. Okay, moving on. So M, followed by a P in the middle of a word, is not written with the normal final M character. Instead, it is written with the Japanese character. I made a mistake in the slide. I showed the hiragana instead of the katakana in the line there, but it is correct in the example, which is
しんぷい、
a well. Now, there are no long vowels in the surviving Hokkaido dialect. There used to be long vowels in the Sakenland dialect, which is now extinct. That said, some words do sound more natural when they're extended. These will be denoted in the katakana spelling with a dash-like symbol, but not in the Latin spelling. Now, sound changes occasionally occur at word boundaries. And I have, 7 cases laid out here for common changes. And we'll just go through these in order using the book audio.
ポイセタ、
Small dog,
ぽいゆく、
small deer,
ウェンマ、
bad plus a conjunctive particle, so something like bad and,
くこったまさい、
my necklace,
くこっちせ、
my house,
くこんにま、
my wooden plate,
くこんるすい、
I want. Now, if you're familiar with Japanese at all, you will know it is pitch accented. Well, Ainu is similar. Ainu has a pitch accent as opposed to a stress accent like English. But the rules are actually pretty simple. If the first syllable of a word is closed, it is accented. So, for example, the following words have the accent on the first syllable.
アイヌ、
Person, and actually the namesake of the Ainu people and Ainu language.
ポンノ、
A little, as in wait a little.
くっち、
The hardy kiwi.
やいこしらんすいぱ、
To ponder. On the other hand, if the first syllable is open, Then the second syllable gets the accent. So the following words all have the accent on the second syllable.
カムイ、
Spirit, God. Bear,
でえ、
to crawl.
異端期、
A bowl.
いあいらいけれ、
Thank you. Now, Ainu is a polysynthetic language with a lot of affixes and conjugations to take into account. And some of these are not counted for the purpose of accent placement. I'll let you know them as we learn them. There's no point in going over them ahead of time. And that is it for Lesson 0. I am sorry for subjecting you to my very non-radio voice for so long. But next time we're going to talk about simple declarative sentences and simple questions, negative statements, imperatives and prohibitives, and a cultural note on foraging wild vegetables, which was and still is an important part of Ainu culture. So look forward to that, and please let me know what you would like me to do with this, what I did terribly that you think I could do better. All right, and until next time, bye.
ふとふらはれなふにうばしほゆったへがとふぴりかごけなきぴらぴらとぴられちゅうくてくちゅうびしかちゃけれれうぽんぺんぺんからからちくちくへがとふぴりかチクチク